Hey YouTube, Elite Legionario here, bringing you some Rome Total War action, just a 1v1 this time. I'll be in command of Armenia, and my opponent is in command of the Scipii Romans. Now, because I'm on a map like this one that has quite a lot of forests in it, I've got to play it a bit careful, because units like cataphracts, or any cavalry for that matter, fight worse in the woods. So I'm trying to basically get him to come to me. Now usually I like to go to my opponents and get pretty offensive, that's more my style, but I won't do that if it would be a major disadvantage to me. And of course, Armenia being a faction that relies pretty much in every situation on its cataphracts to win its victory, you need to make sure they're not at a disadvantage, because if you do that you're reducing your main power, striking force. So that's why I'm actually going to try and bait him into the open here. So if we have an actual look at my army, for infantry I have 2 units of non-upgraded Armenian Legionnaires. This is just like an extra strong peeler shield that can do its own peeler, and a stalling force. I have 4 units of I believe they were 3 upgrades apiece, Armenian Legion, heavy spearmen rather. They will basically just again stall this Roman infantry that's going to be coming up against me. I believe I think it was 6, or at least 5, it might be 6 though, I can't really tell, I can't remember, it's kind of mixed up there. I think it was probably at least 5 gold archers, probably 6 actually, and then I had 5 gold cataphracts and 2 gold horse archers. Now what I'm going to do, I want my opponent to come to me. I've moved my guys down to the woods here to hide them a bit. That'll give them a little more cover as well, but I keep my cataphracts away from the woods as long as I can, because that's a disadvantage. So I'm going to use my horse archers to try and bait some of my units, my opponent's cav out. He's obviously got cav somewhere, and I also want to force him forward. So he's come forward to attack me, which is fine, because now his archers are in the range of my archers, and that's not good for him because he does have archer auxiliaries, so he should be using them to better effect than this, although he's only got 2. So his general he's all got legionary cohort, 5 gold legionary cohort, one of them is his general, so it was kind of cool. He didn't use urban cohort. So here comes his cav. Here's 2 units of Praetorian cavalry, gold, and I think he's got some more. So he comes forward here, and I'm going to throw my peeler. I don't think I'll do much damage, but that doesn't really matter. I'm just going to stall him. Now he does actually get a few of my heavy spearmen, but he's being very much stalled here. So here he reveals 3 more Praetorian cavalry coming out of the woods, so I'm just going to pick away at them with my horse archers basically, because as you can see my stalling force has worked extremely well. He's become completely stalled on my much weaker infantry here. So here I'm going to bring my cataphracts in to get rid of his cavalry, and I succeed in doing so. And now I'm going to hit into this flank here, although I'm not going to stay in that because that's quite I probably won't have much success with because I'm on a bad angle there. So instead I go to encircle and gang up on this last remaining Praetorian cavalry from the cataphracts here. So that's fine there. Over here I'm going to actually just go in with 2 units here, I believe. I think I've only got 2 cataphracts, but they'll hold. But I want to focus all my missile fire on the flank of this Praetorian cavalry, so that'll rout it, in conjunction with I've got horse archers shooting the flank of these dudes here. While I use my other cataphract that I left out here, the 3rd one, these 2 finally freed up. I'm going to use them for hammer and angles. My infantry will lose eventually, although they're doing surprisingly well, considering how completely outclassed they are. I'm not getting very good charges here, so I've got to pull out, but I get rid of these Praetorian cavalry with combined missile fire, and then I'm going to aim for his general. If I break that unit, that'll probably cause his army to crack sooner, but as you can see, it's a general's unit, it's not going to break easily. And these legionary cohort will beat my infantry eventually if I don't play it careful, but I still got plenty of cataphracts left at this stage. And I finally get rid of that general's unit, and that'll weaken his army's morale all around. And at the moment I'm just shooting down anything routers with my missile units here. But as you can see, I'm not getting very good charges. I do kill the enemy general then, and that should break his whole force. As you can see, it did break his whole force when my guys came in there. So I play more defensively, I guess, which isn't usually my style. I'm more an aggressive attacking player. but I will use defensive strategy if it is more practical, and in this case it was, because this forest does diminish the effectiveness of cavalry. But most of his upgrades were in his Praetorian cavalry, or his most expensive force was his Praetorian cavalry. And there's nothing wrong, you know, if you're going up against factions like Armenia, then yes, in a lot of ways, some of the high-powered Roman infantry and cavalry is most certainly needed, because otherwise you're going to suffer. Because Armenians have some okay infantry, they're not great, but what they will do is they will stall the enemy infantry fast enough for the cataphracts to destroy enemy cavalry, and still usually come out with pretty good numbers. So at which point the cataphracts will simply storm your infantry and you're in big trouble when that happens. So that is why, basically, when you're up against Armenia, out of all the, out of Parthia and Armenia, I consider Armenia to be probably more lethal because it's got infantry to use. And they're not good infantry, but what they can do is they can stall enemy opposing infantry so that you can just cream the enemy cavalry. So as you can see, my opponent had 277 kills, I had 775. As you see, cataphracts got most of the kills, although I have to say, look at these heavy spearmen, 72, 64, 58 and 54. That is excellent for heavy spearmen against legionary cohorts, because legionary cohorts completely and utterly outclassed them. Totally in every way outclassed them. The only reason I did so well there is because I actually had a continuous line going with them. And even my Armenian legionnaires, they stalled, lost lots of men, didn't do much, but they stalled them, in which case that gave my heavy spearmen a lot more chances. But with a faction like Armenia, you have to expect your cataphracts to get you the victory in most cases. It's not impossible to do it with infantry, but it's pretty tough. So you got to look after your cataphracts, and that's why in the woods where they'll be disadvantaged, you got to be careful. You don't want them being stuck in a woods fight, particularly against spearmen. That's really dangerous in woods. So anyway, got a good game to my opponent there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you for playing. Watching. I did the playing, didn't I? So thank you for watching, and more on the way soon.